Let's talk about something that for a lot of us is a necessary evil, compliance, right? But what if we could totally flip that script? Today, we're going to explore how to take compliance from this manual, error-prone chore and turn it into a powerful, automated, and even strategic advantage for your organization.
I mean, this quote right here, it hits home for anyone who's ever had to stare down an audit. You know the drill. That frantic end-of-quarter scramble to pull screenshots, run reports, chase people down for evidence. We've all been there. It's not just painful. It's a process that's just begging for human error. And that is the exact problem we're going to solve today. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dive right into what I'm calling the compliance nightmare. Then we'll walk through 3 powerful solutions: automating our evidence, creating a 24/7 digital watchdog, and learning how to tell a clearer story with our data. And we'll wrap it all up with a really fascinating look at the AI-driven future of compliance.
Okay, so let's get into it. Why is traditional compliance just so chaotic? Well, imagine you had to manually check every single book in a massive library for typos every single quarter. That is pretty much what we're doing with manual compliance checks, and yeah, it's just as inefficient as it sounds.
In this slide, this shows the root of the chaos perfectly. See, you have one single control, something like access reviews, but you have to prove it works for GDPR and for HIPAA and SOX and ISO. Each one has slightly different demands, and that overlap creates this tangled mess of redundant work.
So, how do you get out of this maze? Well, the first big idea is to create what's called a unified control set. You build a single, really strong control, like a bulletproof quarterly access review process, and then you just map that one control to all the different frameworks it satisfies. You do the hard work once, and you get credit for it everywhere. Simple, right?
All right, let's move on to our first major solution. This is where things get really, really powerful. We have to stop chasing down screenshots and spreadsheets and start treating our compliance evidence the way developers treat software, as code.
So what is evidence as code at its core? It just means applying the discipline and automation of software development directly to your audit process. You are, in essence, building a machine that generates perfect, trustworthy evidence anytime you want it.
And here's how it works, broken down into 4 key steps. First, you define exactly what evidence you need. Second, you write scripts to automatically go pull that data. Third, and this is critical, you hash it and store it, creating a digital fingerprint that proves the evidence hasn't been tampered with. And finally, you generate these perfect auditor-ready reports with just the push of a button.
And hey, this isn't just theory. Teams are using everyday tools to build these automated evidence engines. Simple Python scripts can query databases for user lists. Infrastructure as code tools like Terraform can literally output your exact system configurations as evidence. And now, there are entire platforms that exist just to manage this whole process for you.
Now, collecting evidence automatically is a huge leap forward, no doubt, but it's still just a snapshot in time. The next evolution is to go from taking a photo once a quarter to having a live 24/7 video feed of your entire compliance posture.
This is called continuous control monitoring, or CCM. Think of it like a heart rate monitor for your company's security. It never sleeps, it's constantly checking your vital signs to make sure every control is working exactly like it should every minute of every single day.
So what is this watchdog actually looking for? Well, here are a few perfect examples. It can ask every single day, hey, have all our critical service account passwords been rotated? It can check every week. Does any single user have a dangerous combination of permissions? Like, can they both create a vendor and pay that same vendor? It turns these big, scary audit questions into small, automated, continuous checks. And this is the fundamental shift, right here. We're moving from defense in hindsight to defense in real time. Instead of an auditor finding a problem from 3 months ago, you get an alert the moment a control fails, giving you the chance to fix it long before it ever becomes a real issue. Okay, let's move on. We have all of this fantastic technical data. How do we translate that into something the board and your leadership team can actually understand and, value? Because raw data just isn't enough. You have to tell a story with it.
This is how you tell a powerful story. Instead of saying, we implemented a complex just-in-time or JIT system, you say, we reduced our riskiest form of access by 40%. That single number, that's a quantifiable business outcome that immediately communicates a massive drop in risk. And look at this. This is the incredible return on investment. This isn't just about making auditors happy. It's about taking a process that once ate up 3 months of your team's valuable time and shrinking it down to just 2 weeks. I mean, that is a massive productivity gain that any leader can appreciate.
So this slide, this is basically your narrative for the C-suite, all boiled down to 4 key points. You lead with a stronger risk posture, backed by hard numbers. You give them a clear, defensible compliance status, and you frame the entire investment in terms of ROI, both in time saved and risk avoided.
And finally, let's look ahead. And I promise, this isn't science fiction. This is a trend that experts are pointing to for 2026, and it's really the next logical step in this entire journey of automation.
Just imagine a system, powered by AI, that can read and understand new laws and regulations as soon as they're published. It doesn't just send you an email about a new rule. It starts preparing your compliance posture for you, sometimes before the deadline has even been announced.
So here's a peek at that AI workflow in action. The AI monitors publications, maps the new rules to your existing controls, and finds any gaps. When it can, it just fixes things automatically, like updating a password policy. And for everything else, it alerts to human experts with a very precise to-do list.
This slide really says it all, doesn't it? The old world of compliance is reactive, slow, and incredibly labor-intensive. This new AI-driven world is proactive, efficient, and it operates in real time. It's all about staying ahead of the game, not constantly trying to play catch-up.
And that brings us full circle. By applying automation, continuous monitoring, and eventually AI, we fundamentally change what compliance even is. It stops being a cost center and a painful chore, and it becomes a real-time, data-driven strategic advantage that reduces risk and frees up our people to do more valuable work.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. As we keep automating away the manual, boring parts of compliance, what new, more strategic challenges can we solve? When our systems become truly intelligent, what's next for our human experts? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.